Hey there! Welcome back to the Mothcast, a podcast about video games and how a couple of moths feel about them. The game for episode 48 is Eternal Threads, a timeline based puzzle game about fixing past mistakes. Turn on all the lights in the basement and let's get into the podcast. All right. So, the game this week is called Eternal Threads.
Yeah,
Yeah, Eternal Threads.
and it's a pretty interesting game too.
Definitely weird, not on my radar on anything that I would have ever intentionally chosen to play.
Yeah, right. But it was definitely fun.
Yeah, it was definitely worth it, I think. Just a slight spoiler to our end. But I definitely think that this game is kind of was definitely a surprise to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Eternal Threads, it's I don't know, how would you even describe this game? Like a detective's game.
It's a time detective game.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's like a time detective's game where you have to basically fix the timeline to prevent needless deaths. I guess is the quickest way to go about describing it.
That sounds right.
Yeah. There's a lot more like moving parts than that.
Oh yeah, way more.
But that is as quick as I can describe the game. Yeah, so let's just hop right in. The graphics for this game it was built in Unity.
Yeah.
So it's
Unity, it's actually like pretty good. It's a 3D game.
Yeah, it's 3D. It's not the graphics are not bad. They're not like god tier. But they're definitely not horrible. I want to say that it's definitely a lot of like we've said before, base like texture packs.
Yeah. It definitely looks like, well, because I don't know, in Unity I don't think it really has those, does it?
I think so.
I don't know. I don't know how.
I mean, as long as it can import like 3D like files, I assume that you can purchase texture packs.
Yeah, I guess.
If any of the like textures in this game, except for maybe the characters, if any of the textures were like custom, I would be very surprised.
Yeah, right.
They all look pretty like, generic. I want to say like in the realm of Gone Home for a lot of the stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I remember.
The only difference between Gone Home and this, obviously, is like the layout of the area that you're walking around is a lot smaller in this game.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And so it doesn't
Whereas
really.
Gone Home felt like a maze.
Well, Gone Home was a maze, but also like there was a lot of like, I don't know, like a lot of the textures kind of repeated themselves, whereas in this game, not so much.
Yeah, everything was like basically unique, almost.
Right. Yeah, pretty much unique. Not a whole lot of like copying things that shouldn't have been copied, Yeah, no, like I have no complaints with this.
No, me neither.
Graphics, it wasn't anything necessarily huge to write home about, but I will give the game makers like a lot of credit. A lot of the like detailed small movements of the characters were absolutely on point.
Yeah.
Like how the characters walked, how they like gestured, some of their like small reactions to things, stuff like that. Definitely on point.
Yeah, agreed. They're for each character's like personality in it. That is, they were real good.
Yeah, the characters were definitely memorable. More like not only just in the way that they look, but also their personalities and just the way that the animators and artists and stuff had them move. Um, they were also like strangely like it's really easy for people making a game like this to put much less thought into like how their characters look um specifically, and I just wanted
Yeah.
to highlight that like all of the men had different builds and all of the women had different builds, and like
Yeah.
that's a really small thing, but I think it's worth mentioning because it's kind of a small detail that's really easy to overlook.
Yeah,
um
because it's like, oh, just like, you know, have the female model and have the male model and just like
yeah, it's really
change the
easy
face
to
a
just
little.
like grab hot woman 1 through 5 and be like, yep, this is my cast, you know. Like, but yeah, that's not it's not really what happened. The like I guess the older sister character that moves in,
Linda.
that we see moves in on day 1, um like completely different build than the other girls
Yeah.
who were significantly younger, but like even
'Cause
the two younger
yeah,
like college
they're in
age
like
girls,
college.
yeah, they had different builds. One was like significantly thinner than the other, you know?
Hmm.
And it's like, oh, like they thought of everything. They thought of it all. So I will give
Yeah.
them many compliments and accolades for actually caring about that. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, this game clearly was made like with care and love, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be too surprised that they had a lot of details considering you know, how the gameplay loop is exists currently.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's yeah.
But yeah, we'll get to that in just a minute. The music, so I don't want to necessarily talk about the music because while there was music, I just like to talk about the sound design overall because there was
Um
a lot of voice acting in this game.
yeah, I want to mention the music though. Um there I don't think wasn't very much music because um I don't know, it wouldn't fit the like atmosphere, I guess.
Well, I mean, okay,
The music there was whenever you can like during the scenes when they had music on, you know?
yeah, that was the only time there was really music.
Because
There
like
wasn't anybody just
there was the
listening to
party
music or
on
something.
Friday and there was the music then, but like while you're just roaming around looking for or like doing stuff, there's nothing. It's just like the sound of the
Yeah,
rain
pretty much the
and
rain and
like
the rainstorm out there.
your boots stomping around when you
And
walk.
then the little like the humming of the little machines that you have to
The
set up at the very
lights, yeah.
beginning, and then the lights. um yeah, there's not a lot of like actual music because this is definitely I don't know, like they give you this game and they kind of set you up into this vibe of a place that is very like abandoned. Like, you know, it's a
Yeah.
burnt house, right? You know, where there's like a fire that has ravaged like the front hall, and like you get there and there's like traces of people, um and like obviously there's like when you first get there there's a spot where there's blood, and you know there's all kinds of like things that are very eerie, but like this game isn't a horror game. It doesn't
No.
give you any like horror game music cues or um it's just very like solemn, I guess.
Hmm.
Pretty much the whole way
Because
through.
it's solemn because literally at the beginning of the game they're like, "Oh, these people died in this house.
Yeah. Well, but I mean,
You got to figure out how to save them."
yeah, I mean, like that's true, but the other thing is um like you're not like a solemn character. You're just there to do a job. You have no
Yeah,
connection to these people.
you're just Agent 43 and
Yeah,
you're just there to
you don't even have
just
a
fix
name. You
the
have a
timeline.
number. Yeah.
Easy peasy. Just go do
So,
your job, idiot.
right. Um
And you're
yeah,
just like, "Oh
I don't
yeah,
know.
okay, whatever."
It's like an interesting decision. And like I guess I should highlight an even more interesting decision. When you first boot up the game, the like outside of the like we broke the world intro that plays every time
Yeah,
you open the game.
it
Um
does.
the like menu is playing like dad rock.
Yeah, it's like 70s
Yeah, like
something.
70s rock, and like you're like the dude that you're playing is sitting inside of the machine that is going to teleport him to the past. Like it's a
Yeah.
very like conflicting vibe almost. It kind of threw me off. And that was due to like the music playing. I'm like,
Yeah.
I thought this was kind of going to be like not like a spooky game, but definitely more of a like
Well,
serious tone, and it
it
is, but
it it's not spooky in the form of horror. It's more spooky like Gone Home was, where it's like you're just here alone in the house
yeah.
looking around, kind of spooky.
Well,
Just the
yeah,
like loneliness kind of spooky.
yeah. The word that I can't remember that I probably brought up on the Gone Home podcast, uh, liminal. That's the one.
Yeah, that
Liminal
might be the one.
spaces where
Mhm.
like you know that people should be, but it's empty and quiet.
Yep.
And it really did. You know, now that I think about it, it was kind of the same way in Gone Home, where all that you could really hear were footsteps and
And the rain.
rain. Yeah, really interesting.
Yep.
Good parallel.
And then whatever music, I think we also mentioned this, is whatever music you decide to play on whatever cassette tape
That
you
is
found.
true. That is true. And like, I almost never did because I felt like it was just like, I don't know, it didn't fit.
I don't know. I played them for like a second and then shut them
Yeah.
off because they weren't very good.
Anyway,
Anyway,
yeah, no, the voice acting in this game
but
is like
the voice
insanely good.
acting was phenomenal.
Like, other than the fact that they're all British,
other than the fact that they're all
phenomenal.
British, except Ian.
What? He's British?
He's British, but also not. You know,
Well, okay, so like, first
because
of
he's
all,
Indian.
Britain is a very diverse place. They have
Yeah,
lots
I know, but
of
I'm
immigration that comes from
just saying.
India specifically.
Mhm.
And so like a lot of people who are children of immigrants tend to have that like Indian British like
Accent.
Indian English accent that he has,
I know.
and like super well done, I think.
Yeah.
Very interesting to give the
Just so you guys know, Ian's the best character.
yeah. He's in love with it, Ian.
No,
I mean, he's right, but like also, you know, whatever.
Ian's just the best guy.
He's
That's
a
it.
he's a silly character who for some reason sees all of life through like
Movies.
movies and pop culture, which is absolutely not at all like any other Indian character that I've ever seen on any other show called Community. But you know, it's fine.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Anyway, yeah, no, the sounds in this game are like, yeah, I think this is like seriously a one of the best games for voice acting we've had
Voice acting. Yeah, agreed.
in ages.
What other games have we had for voice acting?
You know, that's a really good question.
I guess like Ghost Runner, I guess.
Ghost Runner was good for voice
recently.
acting. Yeah, there wasn't a
I
whole lot.
don't really know. I can't really think of any right now.
Because like a lot of these
It's been a while.
games, a lot of these games that I'm looking at are like very like the Big Con had some voice sounds, but it wasn't a lot of voice acting. It was like hey, yep, like Legend of Zelda shit.
Yeah.
But
games like
I guess like Gigabash had some
Industria, I think. Gigabash.
Oh yeah, Duck Detective was
Duck Detective.
definitely
Hell
one.
yeah.
Maybe Industria as well.
I think Industria had a little bit.
It had quite a bit. It was you talking to that guy for a while.
Close to the Sun, yeah.
Close to the Sun was definitely one.
Yep.
Yeah, so we've had quite a few that were good, but this one is definitely like very good.
I think I haven't played it, but you guys played Firewatch.
Yeah, Firewatch
That one I
definitely
think had some
was an extremely
good
good
voice acting.
game.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't remember about Saturnalia. That we just kind of ignore that one.
You know, it's actually funny that you bring up Saturnalia. I was gonna bring it up in the next section, so I guess we can just like jump over there. Voice acting, no notes. Keep doing this. If you make another game, please let me know. I want to play it.
Yeah, right. Me too.
So the gameplay in this game is you get a timeline of events that occurred throughout 7 days, right? So basically the game tells you need to, or well,
Actually,
you what is it? What are the
technically 8 days.
Is it? I
Yeah.
thought it was 7. Anyway,
Thought it was 7
they're
too.
like, we can only go back this many days in our little time dilation thing. And so you need to basically, fudge with the choices that these people make so that you're not creating these like extreme ripple effects that will
butterfly effects.
Yeah, these butterfly effects that will, destroy the next country over or whatever. You're
Whatever
going
they
in
said,
with a scalpel, not a hammer. Was
Yeah.
their analogy. And so you basically have to go along this timeline, and like every so often there would be a choice where you have to basically cause a character to make a decision that is like slightly different that will impact the rest of the story or certain other choices or scenes in the story.
Mm-hmm. It'll make some events show up and some events be locked.
Yeah.
Because it's like an either or, like as we said, butterfly effect, where it's like, if this choice, then this happens, or if this choice, then this happens.
Right. And I want to say there was like almost 300 like not decision points, but like selectable things. And then around like 55 to 60 decisions.
Yeah.
In the full mode.
Seems right.
Yeah. I want to say that that's what it says when you press new game. But don't press new game because I know that you have.
I'm currently in my game right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so like there's a lot of decisions that affect other things, and so like you can see how at the very beginning, there you could press option A or option B, and it won't really affect anything. But like later down the line, you press one thing, and all of a sudden like this flurry.
16 other events open up, and it's just like what
or lock, and all of a sudden like you went from having saved a few people to like everyone's dead again. It's like, oh my gosh, like what do you mean?
Later in the game, you've already like you can see that some people survive with this choice, but then like you make a different choice on something else, and those people that are alive just are dead
again.
Because it's like what?
Oh, it's crazy.
What? How does this like make sense?
Yeah,
it does sort of.
It does. Especially like while you're playing it, like basically every single decision affects something.
Well, sort of.
For the most part, there are a few decisions that don't really matter that much.
Yeah, there's some of the choices that don't actually like have that much of an impact.
But like
I'm looking at one right now. Like at the beginning, a little fixer-upper, where it's like Linda is talking to Jenny and Raquel about what's like what their history is, and Tom's, and it doesn't really make anything else change.
Yeah, I think there's a few gimmies in the beginning that are like, here's some small choices that you can make and not feel bad about because you're never going to touch them again. Which I think is fine because they're like, it's like introductory to the process.
Yeah. Like the very first one you can do is about Tom's bird.
Yeah.
Which is a choice where it's like, oh, this is how you make choices.
Well, yeah, because the scene there is something like, oh, my bird is kind of sick. Do I make the choice of sending it off to stay overnight at the vet, or do I
Just leave it for and
leave
let
it
it
and
see
it'll
if it
get
gets any
better?
better.
And then like you choose one of them and the birdcage disappears from like the real place that you're standing. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you saved the bird. Congrats.
Yeah.
And
And
so
just
it's like a perfect way to illustrate, hey, by the way,
actions have consequences.
yeah, your decisions, you having them make decisions has an impact on the real world where you are, right? And that becomes important because not only is this a like temporal puzzle and like a temporal decision making puzzle, I suppose you could say, very fancy words. There are also like certain areas in the house that are like literally blocked off via door.
Yeah.
And you're
Like,
like, oh, I can't get in here.
I can't
And
get in here. Where do I get the key? Okay,
yeah,
maybe I'll find the key later via like them telling me where it is because they'll have to go in there eventually.
right. Or like there's a combination lock that one person, like in a completely unimportant decision, goes and gets the combination from another character, uh, and they like write it down on a piece of paper, and that person looks at it, memorizes it, and throws it away. And so it alerts
Yeah.
you that in this trash can is a crumpled up piece of paper that
With the combo
with
on
the
it.
combo on it, and so then you can go and unlock that door. It's all very
Yeah.
interesting. I'm gonna be
It
honest.
is.
This
Go
is a
ahead.
controversial take. Several times during the gameplay of this game, I went back and forth on whether or not I actually liked this.
Oh, like the you won't find it until like you get to the event where they
No, like
use it.
the entire the entire gameplay.
Oh, okay.
Cuz like there was a point at the like when I first started playing I was like, "Oh man, this is like really cool. This is amazing. I love this." Cuz you're jumping up, going in and out of doors, running back and forth between rooms, talking to various people, watching conversations, yada yada yada.
Mhm.
Um and like after I'm playing for a little while, I'm like, "Oh, like this is like a lot of these conversations, I just like pressed play and stood there and waited. And I'm like listening to it and watching it and like there's nothing to do. You know, the only thing you can do is just watch. If there's any
Yeah.
significant like thing that gets revealed, the game will pause at a decision. If it reveals where a key is, that will be illuminated after the event happens. Like you don't really need to like technically watch 100% of the time.
No,
You
but
just need to listen, basically.
yeah, but still, it's like interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like I was trying to think of like other ways that you could go about like framing this sort of story with this gameplay. And like I don't think there really is a way. You know what I mean?
No, no, there's
Cuz I
not.
was thinking I'm like what if they made it like you were at a computer and
And you just watch them on a screen.
yeah,
Yeah, no,
you were
that
like
would.
pressing play to each thing and like
I
you
think
could
there definitely are games like that. Um, which I can think of one off the top of my head that I've never played or heard of until my friends were watching like a 10-hour long video on it. Called I think Immortals or Immortal.
immortal.
And I think it's just like you watching like these various like just videos or movies, I guess. I don't know, videos, movies,
Mhm.
and like that's it. I think.
Is it no, not Immortal Life. Oh my god, there's so many immortal
Maybe
things on
it's
Steam.
maybe it's I don't know if it's on Steam. I actually don't know where came from or anything. We were just watching the like 10-hour video on it explaining it,
Anyway,
and it's like
I only wanted to
whatever.
look it up to see if I could see it.
Um, yeah. Anyway, but there are games like that. But this game I think did really well from you having to go around and like view the actual like 3D events that went down instead of just like on a screen.
Yeah, I've come back around on that second like decision. Like the first decision, I was like, wow, I like this, and then I was like, oh man, I don't like this as much anymore. But now I've come back to the first
Yeah,
position
because
where
I
like, yeah,
feel
you
like
know what, I like
it's
this
way
again.
more interactable. Because like you can like as you're viewing the event, you can like walk around and like look closer at the people and
Well, yeah, I was
etc.
gonna say that next is like there are certain things that change inside the house, like like
Yeah,
in particular, there's a point where one of the characters is told that they need to like get out and get fresh air more, and
yeah.
that they
The
need to like,
Ben gives Neil his bike,
yeah,
and
he
like
was
the
given a
bike
bike.
moves from downstairs, or the bike moves from like on down from the second landing up to the higher landing in front of Neil's room, and it's just like I actually didn't notice that whenever I did it. I'm like, oh, the bike's missing, or actually it goes from the I think in front of the back door
Yeah, the
to up
back
where
door.
Neil's at, and I'm like, wait a minute, when did that bike move?
Yeah, no, I
And then I'm
actually
like,
noticed that
wait a
immediately.
minute, he just gave him his bike, so it's up here now.
There
And then
are
like after that, I noticed it way more and more, where it's like it's kind of neat how it like immediately changes too, because it's like um it's they like hide it, I guess,
yeah, they definitely don't advertise it, which is nice.
which is awesome because it's like it's up to you to see what is different.
Right. The other
Because
thing
it's like usually whenever
is
it changes, hold on, I'm sorry, I'm not done.
you're go
Um
ahead.
Whenever it changes, you're like either in your timeline like menu, so it's like when you change it uh um you change a choice in there and you come back out, it's already like stuff's different. So
I
it's
think
like
it gives you an indication. Like there's
well,
a flash.
it yeah, it does a little like weird thingy of like screen um manipulation, I guess.
Yeah.
But still it's like stuff little stuff that you wouldn't notice normally.
Right. Um, I think
You
the
can go
other
ahead.
things that changed that clued me in on this change was the various phones
Yeah.
that they would change position, because like when you first get there, there are phones, but
There, yeah, each one of them is phones just in a random spot.
right,
Actually, most likely by um
their body or
corpses
where their body should have been or
where
was
their bodies
taken.
were, and their where the like little number like police number tags are.
Yeah.
So their
Um,
phones are like somewhere nearby there.
yeah, and they like change position, and they all sort of have like a conclusionary note in them.
Yeah,
Whenever
of
I don't know if you noticed that.
yeah, I did
Um,
of what happened last
well,
before
like
they
I think it's like whenever you get to a certain point in each person's story, they sort of get a voicemail from like a person that is helping them uh like progress.
Mhm.
That is not one of the other, five in the house.
Yeah.
And so like I think that it's like a really neat, it's really neat that, like I said like way at the beginning, this game pays attention to the details so much.
Yeah.
I think there's some other collectibles as well. I definitely did not find them all. I went through the
What do you mean?
house like the first time and like opened everything and unlocked everything that I could. But like when I was on my way out, I found a few things that I was like, "Wow, this is new. What? When did this get here?" You know, like unless I
Yeah.
noticed it as I was progressing, I never found it. So,
Yeah. Well, I found a bunch of stuff.
but did you get the 100% achievement?
No,
Yeah, me neither.
I don't even know what that involves.
Well, I
I
think
got I
it's,
got I got all the like events, but I don't know.
I think
Maybe
it's
I
like all the
did.
events, all the voicemails, all the I think it's all of the there's a certain like postcard or some kind of note
I don't even know how to
collection.
even begin to get all the voicemails. Because, like, you'd have to find out where, when, what event makes the phones change
Well,
locations.
like I think that as soon as you do the first one, um like whenever you trigger the one to give you the voicemail phone, that it stays there and you can then go and listen to it. It doesn't disappear. Because I
Hmm.
did get the achievement of good listener, which says
I
listen
oh
to the
yeah,
voicemail
okay.
for all 6 housemates.
I I did get good listener too, I think. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. So I actually got all of them except for avid reader, which is read all that can be read in the house, and then morbidly curious, watch all possible death
Watch
scenes
all
across
deaths.
all
Yeah,
the possible timelines.
I got that one too. I didn't get avid reader,
And then
and I didn't get good.
investigation, I did not witness every possible event across all the different timelines because I didn't get all of the death scenes. Basically, that's the ones I didn't get.
I didn't get avid reader, and I didn't get good listener.
Gotcha. So I did not get avid reader either. I have no idea where the rest of those things were.
Oh, what I did get is I got righter of wrongs. Saved
Yeah.
all 6 housemates while also resolving their personal issues.
Yeah, me too.
Which I assume is the good ending.
The good ending. Yeah, the like true ending or whatever.
Oh, yeah, true ending. Beam me up, Scotty. Found and experienced the secret ending.
Woo.
All possible death scenes. Saved one. Discovered the secret personal issues of all the housemates. Yeah, which is how you do the righter of wrongs, is resolve those personal issues.
Right.
Locksmith and investigator. Witness all possible events across the different timelines. But I don't know. I wouldn't even know how to get all the voicemails. You'd have to find where all the phones end up.
I mean, they're just in the rooms, like pretty much. They're just like I don't think there's any. I think there's maybe one in like the living room, but otherwise they're all in individual rooms.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. The gameplay in this game is like it's very chill and it's very like casual. But like it's got a ton. It's got so many moving parts that it becomes very easy to get confused the further like and the deeper you get into it, basically. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Because the game isn't difficult. It just like it becomes a tangled mess very quickly.
Mhm.
Especially once you've watched all of like or like the vast majority of all of the scenes. Like trying to remember exactly what you need to go to open up this that will eventually open up that will make it so that you can then take this option is like oh it
Yeah,
becomes tricky.
it's a little tricky, but um they do have the like little dotted lines that lead back to each one, so for like what the future events
Yeah, I
are
guess I should
affected
notice
by
that.
the
That's
past events.
the reason why I even brought us into this. Yes, so go ahead and explain that again, how exactly to do it and
Um
stuff.
some of the future events have little dotted lines that lead back to the events that
Like affect
have an
them.
effect on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I was playing this, I was like, wow, that's really cool. And then I was like, well, but there's a way to do this better. And you know what game I think actually did it better? Saturnalia.
Really?
As weird as it would be, I think that Saturnalia's like way of laying out like what affects
The
what.
like spaghetti.
Yeah.
The spider web.
Well, okay, think about it like this, right? So you said there's like 8 days. I thought there was 7. So let's say that there's
Yeah.
7.
I don't know.
Okay.
It goes from Wednesday to Wednesday, so.
So let's say that there's 7 days. Separate it into 7 quadrants, right? And then
Yeah.
put each event on that quadrant somehow and then arrange it so that you can see like what strings to what on other quadrants.
Mm-hmm.
And so the way that it works currently is that you have to scroll on this massive, absolutely crazy timeline just to find XYZ thing. And then like whenever you're scrolling, there's like a shit ton of motion blur. So you can't really see what you're doing while you're scrolling. So you end up having to like either let it auto scroll, which doesn't always work, or you have to like scroll just a little bit at a time and then remember what
just
everything is called.
remember where everything is.
Yeah, just remember, forehead.
Just do it. Duh.
This like singular thing, I think, is the number one reason why you could not, like, if you put this game down for any reason, like you didn't like it and you wanted to come back to it, or you put it down because you lost access to the computer or the whatever you're playing it on, and then you come back to it, like you just got to start over. Like it becomes too difficult to navigate with everything already marked. If you forget what the content of each scene is, I think, in my opinion. Like we played it very quickly, within a week, some of us within a few days.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not, I don't know.
I mean, I think it's okay. I think it's fine.
I think it functions. I just think that there's definitely a way you could have made it better.
Probably was a better way to do it, but like I think it was fine as how it is.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's it for gameplay. Unless there was anything I think we missed. Can you think of anything? No, just a lot of interactions and decisions to be made and such. So let's talk about the insanely convoluted and complicated story that is actually not that convoluted. Yeah. So, okay. You're told that like immediately as you start the game, like when you first open the game, that this like, what would you call them? This like agency has just like broken the world. She legitimately like straight up is like, well, we broke the world.
They're like, oh, our experiments in time McGubbins is
it's ruined everything.
We were really bad at it and it broke things, and so we got better at it and we're trying to fix them now.
Yeah, our whole like we're just
what?
devoted to just fixing things. It's like, oh. Which is, honestly, like refreshing because the number one gripe I have with time travel things in
McGubbins.
A lot of stories is that like nobody understands that if you mess with some small thing, like
things will get broken.
Like you're just destroying a bunch of other shit. Yeah. And so this game really like acknowledges that is the case and that your job is to just go fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is really good. I like that a lot. Personally, I don't know about you.
It specifically says like our early experiments damaged, etc. And now that we're better and we know more, we're going to fix it.
We're gonna do better from now on. Yeah.
We're gonna fix what we broke.
So
it's like, okay, that makes sense.
You are like literally a number in their time machine antics, number 43. You are sent back to a time which is, it appears to be like it's very similar to our time, like the 20s or the 2000s or the 2010s, etc. In England.
I don't know if it actually has
I don't know if it has a year. There are multiple dates because it's like Friday the 23rd or something like that.
Yeah, but it doesn't have a year on it.
Yeah.
So it's like whatever.
Yeah, it's not. It seems to be similar to like modern times.
Yeah.
So I'm not really worried about exact dates. So yeah, the game sort of starts up with you seeing this older woman named Linda is moving into a house with a bunch of college kids. And then you come to find out that her younger brother is living there. He is like, I think I want to say that they never stated out loud, but I want to say it's like,
at least the 2010s.
Okay.
Right.
I want to say that there's probably like a 10 to 15 year difference, if not more, between Linda and her brother.
Yeah, maybe.
Neil. Because Linda has like a teenage son. Right?
Yeah, I think he's like he seems like he's like 14 or 13 or 15.
Yeah,
something
like
that.
12 to 14 area is what I kind of read it as. And because he's playing video games with Neil, the younger brother. And so it's like, he has access to video games. He's competent enough at video games that he can play. And that at the very youngest, he's like, what, 9? You know what I mean? So like, he's not like a baby. So it kind of leads to me to believe that he, this woman, Linda, is like significantly older. She's got to be in her like mid 30s.
Mm-hmm.
At the earliest, almost. Whereas I want to say Neil is probably, I think they said that they're all like in their 3rd year of university, so probably like 21. Yeah, 21, 22. Yeah, so that she's moving in, and then it becomes quickly apparent that she's married. She's having trouble at home with her husband, but they don't really say why until like significantly later. Yeah, and then you meet the rest of the I guess you could say cast. There is Ben and Jen. They're
Ben and Jenny.
Ben and Jenny,
like the ice cream.
Like the ice cream, which is funny because I don't, unless they have a Ben and Jenny's ice cream in the UK, I don't know.
It might be, but we definitely have a Ben and Jerry's.
Yeah,
here.
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure it's Ben and Jerry's here, but maybe they have a different ice cream there because obviously UK brands. But yeah, I thought that was funny.
It's still funny because they make that joke twice.
I think like 3 times. Like, I think
so.
Many
I don't know,
times.
At least twice, because when
Linda meets them and then her son
when Linda meets them and then when her son meets them,
like the ice cream. Yeah, like the ice cream.
That's what I said. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So Ben is a doctor. He is working his way through both medical school and like I want to say that he's doing his I don't remember what it's called.
He definitely works at a hospital. He works
at a hospital, but he's working in like the ER. So I want to say that because the way that doctors work, you have to work in like a bunch of different areas first before you settle into
before you
like
get certified or whatever.
Yeah. And so I think he's in that part of the schooling like part. I don't know how else to describe it other than like I want to say he's might be a little older than everybody else because he seems to be a little bit more mature than everybody else. But yeah, he's definitely still in med school. And then his girlfriend is I guess she's a math student.
She's a mathematician.
Yeah, she's working to be a mathematician.
In her last year of uni.
Well, she's working on her 4th year, like her final year of just a regular math thing.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. So those two are like clear. They're STEM people. They're very smart, very driven to be successful in that regard. And then we have Jenny's friend, whose name is for some reason escaping me.
Raquel.
Raquel. Yeah, that's right.
Which is weird, but whatever.
It's a British thing. Because it's like, why not Rachel? Anyway, Raquel she's an art student, I suppose,
Mm-hmm.
because there's many mentions of her like, oh, this is her final gallery. She's gonna finish up her schooling. She has to do well on this gallery, and it will set her up for the rest of her career, basically.
Yeah.
And like, cringe. She's got like some modern art, like bullshit littering her room, but like I can't judge her too much because we're here to save her life.
Yeah. It's art or whatever.
It's art or whatever. Like, this is not the podcast to talk about my opinions on modern art, but she's going to school for it. So
if you want to know about his opinions on modern art, contact him at blah,
yeah,
blah,
man.
blah, blah, blah.
Just send me a DM. I'll let you know. Yeah. So she's an artist. You know, she's the artist friend. She's a little bit, I guess you could call her personality a little bit freer than the rest of her housemates.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like Jenny's a little bit like, she's a little bit nerdy, but like not like overly nerdy. She's definitely very like, I don't know, like kind of quirky girl, but mellowed out and like not as like horribly antisocial as is typically shown, because she has like a boyfriend that it appears as though they've been going out for a while, because you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Long time.
Ben, I'm going to be honest, like it's so strange because he appears to be the most mature of all the characters. And because of that, he doesn't really like, the only time he kind of pops up is whenever something needs to be resolved and like wise words need to be said. Do you notice that? It's a little weird.
It's never like his own problems, really.
Right. Well, because like he spends his time either working in the ER for like a 24-hour shift or like coming home and getting drunk, which I guess is a problem, but it's not really a problem that they seem to like believe is a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
like, yeah, whatever. It's not a huge issue. I mean, he's involved with one of the bigger issues in the game, but it's not like a personal issue that he needs to resolve. Like,
well, I guess he does have
issue.
one. I guess he does have one issue. It's the like job offer he gets.
Yeah, because you know both of his parents are both doctors, and so it's pretty much implied that he became a doctor because of his parents having been doctors, which is fine, but like it boils down to no, I don't want to do that, mom. Versus...
No, not. I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about the overseas one.
Oh, yeah, but that doesn't lead to
that
anything
big of a
either.
problem. No, but like,
because like I don't know, dude. Like under no, like there's no choice.
There's
in the
no
game.
choices where it like becomes a problem.
Yeah, there's no choice in the game where he's like, this is what I want to do because I feel morally obligated to go and work with like Doctors Without Borders, because this is the dream that I've always had, and I'm not going to let like a girl get in the way of that. That's never even a conception in the game.
No, because it's like, even if you leave it to where he thinks about it on the first like few options, that's a choice.
Right.
The later one, he gets it and finally tells Jenny, she's like, "You're not leaving me," and he's like, "Absolutely not."
Yeah, exactly.
And he never even thinks about it after that. So it's like, it never really becomes like a problem or a fight or anything.
Right. I guess we should talk about Neil. Is just like, he's like, I don't know, man, like young boy number 5. Like he's just like, he's a college kid who's like trying to find a girlfriend, and he doesn't really know what he's going to do with his life. And like, he's just hanging out with his friend who constantly like embarrasses him because for some reason, like he doesn't want to spend the time to like learn all the references that his friend constantly makes, and he just like kind of shrugs them off as like, dumbass friend, like weird, but whatever, dude. I guess, you treat your friends however you're gonna treat them. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
um, yeah, Neil's kind of I don't know. He's another character where he just kind of like needs to pop up whenever he pops up whenever they need to have a situation blow up.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what his problem is.
Yeah, that's like his MO, but
That's literally his whole thing.
I don't know. It just
He's got anger management problems, and so it's like that's the main problem.
right.
Is he has to get help from Ben and Tom or whoever, Linda, to just like get that fixed.
Well, like everybody, but yeah.
So it's like because he goes out drinking with his friend Ian, and like he gets into fights.
Yeah, he gets into fights because that's like his outlet, I guess, for his anger, which obviously isn't very healthy. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I think Neil is probably one of the characters that doesn't really get it. He either didn't really have any work to begin with, like towards characterizing him, and he doesn't really get a whole lot after that, other than the abuse revelation later.
Yeah.
And then like that wraps up in like 3 shakes, and then you're done. That's it. It's like, oh, okay, that's weird, but whatever.
Well, it wraps up because like he finally admits it to Linda and everybody, and it's not like fully wrapped up because it's definitely an ongoing problem, but
yeah,
but it's like still it does happen towards the end, and then it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, it's just fine.
right. But yeah, and then the final person in the house, I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
The final
Tom.
person is Tom, who is the landlord, the owner of the home that they're all renting rooms of. He is, I guess he's supposed to be older than them, but like
I don't know actually if he is.
He is. He's supposed to be a similar age, maybe a little bit younger than Linda, but like he's supposed to be in his 30s, but like he doesn't really act like it.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, it's very strange. His whole thing is that he inherited the building from his parents. His dad passed away, and his mother is in hospital.
Nursing home.
Yeah, nursing home, or she's being taken care of, and he is spending all of the money he gets from the
Rent.
building. Yeah, renting out the building to pay for her medical bills.
Yeah, or the nursing home fees.
Yeah. So yeah, that's sort of his deal. He's kind of always around because like his job is taking care of the house, which like I don't know, man. If I was somebody and I needed like I couldn't make ends meet with just the rent from the other tenants, like you best believe what?
Go out and get yourself a damn job.
Yeah, I was gonna say you best believe I'm working at like the corner shop as well. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I'm getting that job, and I'm doing the like landlord thing because like I don't know, man. They're all adults. They seem to pick up after themselves in the common areas. You know, you don't have to like do that. The only thing that you have to do is
like the
repairs.
Yeah. I was going to say the contractor work, but it's the
contractor work,
like
basically.
handyman work.
Yeah,
that's the word, handyman.
But yeah, no, he doesn't appear to do that, which is strange to me. But you know, it becomes clear as to why.
I mean, yeah, either that or they just don't touch on it that he does have a day job or something. Or they just don't mention it. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. They show 7 days, and he's pretty much home the whole time.
Yeah.
So, you know, like the only other times where he's left is because it's like, oh, we're going down to the pub. See you later.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
I don't
Weird,
know.
but whatever. Not a huge deal. Um, yes. So, what happens in day one other than introductions? That's about it, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much just like, hey, I'm this, you're that, let's talk, blah, blah, blah. And then they're talking about how on Friday there's going to be a party and that Linda doesn't have anything to wear and that, you know, she's like, oh, it's fine. You know, you don't have to dress up. But then the girls are like, you definitely need to dress up. Like, it's important, even though like they they make it clear that nobody else is going to be dressing up. It's just going to be them.
Hmm.
And Linda, for some reason, is like, ah, yes, then I must also dress up. And so she does, and she gets clothes from Tom, um, who I guess had the clothes in the basement from his mom,
Yeah.
and gives it to her, and she wears them to the party.
Hmm. Well, the other girls, they like fix them up, or
Yeah, they
you
like
know.
style them or whatever it
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
So she ends
pretty
up
much.
looking like a pirate wench.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happens on day 2?
Day two. Well, the all important. Is Tom going to text his ex or not?
Oh yes, of course. That is actually a really good point. Um, it kind of brings up that Tom is very lonely. Uh,
Yes.
he has spent a lot of time taking care of his mom, and his only recent relationship is a crazy psycho ex girlfriend who did a lot of like non consensual stuff to him that he was basically gaslit into believing that was fine. Which is like, okay,
Yeah.
just so you know, if you have to be like convinced to do something that you don't want to do, you should probably not. You got to just like say no and leave. Like you're allowed to do that, just so you know.
Yeah.
um, yeah. So yeah, that's one of the major decisions in the earlier part of the game is should he text her back
Should he
saying,
not?
yeah, should he text her back or should he not? And so that changes things later on. Um, and then I don't think there's a whole lot. I think there's some parts where you meet Ian. He comes
Yeah.
over, they play video games, they like I think there's one part in it that's like should they stay in and play video games or should they go to the pub and talk to girls? And
Or drink and get
yeah,
drunk,
well,
possibly
Ian
get
wants to go
fight.
talk to girls and obviously Neil wants to drink cuz
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Um
which of course then leads into him probably getting into a fight because
because that's what he
that's what
does.
happens.
Yeah. Um, just as a note, we're not going to go through every single thing because, like, literally, this story is so
There's
ridiculously
so
long.
many.
There's so many points that, like, it's definitely a situation where, like, if you are already in at this point and like you like this game
Go play it.
or you like the idea of this game, you just need to go play it. Like, just go
Go
play the game.
it. Experience it for yourself.
It's fantastic.
Which is something we should have said at the beginning.
Well,
But
yeah,
that's
but we're only on day 2. Like, come on.
it's not much.
There's a heck of a lot more to talk about. Um, yeah. So day 3 comes along, and that's Friday, I believe, because first day is
Friday.
Wednesday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They're all like
Friday is the party.
preparing for the party. Yeah, exactly. Um, I don't think there is much that happens in the morning, but
Well, the morning, Raquel gets Jenny. We should mention.
that's right.
Raquel gets Jenny a pregnancy test because Jenny was puking in the toilet the morning
The
before.
morning
On
before.
Thursday.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's a whole thing, which is also again very important.
Pretty important. Yeah. Um,
everything.
she
So
does
it's like
the
she does it. Well, actually, you can choose. That's one of the choices. You can choose
yeah,
her
it's
to
a
do
pretty
it or
big
not,
thing.
which is like gonna want to have her take the test. Otherwise, it's a big problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, and she like obviously doesn't drink any alcohol during the party, and yeah.
Yeah. Um, And then the party comes, and this is like, I want to say this is like the bulk of the big decisions in the game.
Oh, absolutely. It is
like come
like
from this spot.
the one choice at the party,
That
like
changes
during the
so many
party,
things.
that changes absolutely so many things.
Yeah, which is like something that neither of us expected at all.
Is whether Linda's going to get drunk at the party or not.
Yeah, basically. Because if you get Linda drunk at the party, she basically like is a positive. It's so weird. Okay, so it's like she is a positive influence on her brother, on Neil, and the girl that Neil has invited that day that he likes. Sort of positively influences them, because previous to that, you can see in Neil's room there are multiple like signs that she doesn't want to talk to him again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed that.
I didn't.
Yeah, so it's because if you don't get Linda drunk and she doesn't do the positive influence on this thing, Neil gets super jealous that the girl is like talking to a bunch of other guys and this one guy specifically, and he gets into a fight with them.
Yeah. Actually, I think that happens anyway, isn't it?
Maybe, but either way, like it resolves better if Linda gets drunk. Yeah.
Yeah, that happens regardless. Vic's big night out.
Okay.
Neil knocks him out. And yeah.
Yeah.
But that event is not connected to the Linda drinking. That event is connected to like Ben helping Neil with his anger.
Right. And then the other thing that it affects is I think it takes some of the heat off of what's her name not drinking? Jenny,
yeah.
Because she's like, I need to like make sure that there's somebody not drunk at this party. Also, I have a headache. Oh.
Yeah. I have a headache. I'm not gonna drink. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, sure. That's okay. And so yes, what was I gonna say? Oh, and then the biggest part, of course, is that at the end of the party, Linda and Tom hook up. Which is probably the most like
that's the like other big
the biggest like consequence / reason why everybody doesn't die.
Yeah.
As freaking weird as that is.
At least Neil and Linda don't.
Well, not only Neil and Linda, but also I guess there was a way you can save Neil, Linda, and Tom, and then the other three not, with just the like various like talking routes through the game. But yeah, so at the party, Tom's ex-girlfriend shows up, and like whether it's Tom himself that tells her to go away, or Raquel that kind of like cockblocks him, because like
or
Linda
there's
does
another one where it's Linda does.
Yeah, so
because like earlier there's like a small choice where it's like Tom tells Ben that he wants to make his own dumb decisions, and Ben's like, okay.
Yeah.
And then he like stops the other three or the other two from helping, and Linda's like, well, you never. I never promised.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway.
Yeah. What was I also saying? I don't remember. Oh yeah. Yeah, it depends on who is being like who ends up cockblocking Tom, and then like Linda's kind of like super drunk at the end of the night if you got her drunk, and then she's like, how much do you want to apologize? And then they like go off and they hook up.
Yeah.
And what that ends up doing is the next day, she sort of like tells Raquel, and
yeah,
Raquel's like, Well, you should probably tell Neil because he probably
Otherwise,
doesn't want to hear it from somebody else.
yeah.
um, and so she ends up doing that. I think the next day, or maybe it's in the evening. I don't
No,
remember.
I think it's Sunday. I guess technically it's the next day because Linda and Tom hooking up happens on Saturday, like really early in the morning because it's
wee hours of
a
the
party.
morning.
It goes late, yeah. So then Saturday happens. They're all like, we should mention the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. Linda's son is coming over.
Oh yeah.
So it's like he stays a few days.
Yeah. There isn't a whole lot that's important with that sort of visit, except that I think two things. One, in order to get the good ending, Linda needs to talk to her husband. Two, she needs to talk to Raquel, and Raquel needs to give her the advice that, like, she doesn't need to just like lie down and accept her husband's bullshit.
Yeah.
And then I think the last one is,
well, because one of them is Kieran finds which is the son. He finds the pregnancy test in the trash.
Oh yeah, that's what it is.
So it's like
he finds the pregnancy test in the trash, and he like kind of brings it up and is like, "Oh, like this
and
is this somebody's?"
It's either Jenny doesn't say anything or does say something about it.
Right.
Which actually, if she doesn't say anything about it, it gets the better ending.
Yeah, it's strange, but
like the longer you wait for Jenny to tell Ben that she's pregnant, the better it is.
Yeah, so okay, so this was something that we were talking about before the podcast. Because the best ending is when she waits until like the very last moment. It's like literally like the day of of the fire, or like the night before the fire, before she tells him. It's because in every other situation there's outside influence.
Yeah.
Right? And so like if she told him in front of everybody, it's just she's not in the right headspace for that. And then even before the point where she tells him at the very end, she hasn't really gotten her own head around being pregnant. Whether she's even going to keep it or not doesn't matter. Just like she's cuz if you have to think about it from her perspective, right? She's about to finish university, which is like a huge thing, right? Finals for the final year is like an insane amount of work. Okay. That's number one. Number two, she's going to have to, like, if she does have a kid, she's basically putting off her career that she's been working towards for forever, or until further notice, basically. Right. So that's number two, where she has to like grasp that fact. Number three, she's got mental health issues to the point where she's been on antipsychotics since she was like 9.
Yeah.
Right. And so like it's shown in something we haven't mentioned, because it kind of comes up around like right after the party time, that her medication stops working and she starts seeing things. Right. And so like it's something that she's got to like wrap her head around, being like mentally ill and like coming to terms with her mental illness, coming to terms with her physical like body trying to grow a person in it, and then like also
all the
her
large amounts of hormones.
Well, but then there's also the hormones, but then there's also the thing where like you got to remember, we're guys, right? We don't have this problem. There are a lot of guys that are big, gigantic tools, where like if their girlfriend or wife or whatever gets pregnant without like them trying to, they'll just leave.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an insane thing to do, because communication, obviously, to those of us who have brains. But like they'll just leave, or they'll pressure them into getting rid of it, which is like maybe they wanted to get rid of it before. But like it's not their choice, sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like even just the pressure of pushing her one way or another is, it's too much for her to even think about. And then like even the ultimate bad thing is like her being alone with the like weight of the entire decision and him leaving. You know, it's like all these things piled on top of one another that she has to like come to grips with one after another throughout the next few days before she can even think about telling him. And that's what she goes through basically. It's not like explicitly said, but it's like sort of implied that she has to come to grips with all of these things before she even tells him, because fear, right?
Yeah.
And then once she does, they don't have a blow up. And if you tell before this point, like bad end, basically.
Well, actually, I just timelined it out right now, and you can have them all survive, with him being in the doghouse.
Correct. Yes.
With the fight. It's not all green, but
yeah, it's not resolving
they
any of their
are alive.
issues, but they are alive. Yeah. The way you do that is essentially like he's in the doghouse, and then Tom is like, "Hey, do you want to go out to the pub?"
Yeah, but that caveat is, you have to have Raquel not go with Tom to see Tom's mom,
or not even get to that point.
So it's like,
because there's an even earlier decision that's like, oh, you know, thanks for talking to me about my mom, but we're still friends, sort of decision.
Because it's like when Raquel is not going with Tom to see his mom, Raquel goes. You can have Raquel go to check on Jenny after the fight, and she stays with Jenny, and then they've survived there because like they wake up to the smoke,
right?
And because Tom goes with Ben to the pub after the fight, Tom doesn't go down to check his drug farm.
Yeah.
Which we didn't mention, but
I was coming around to it.
He goes and grabs Ben off the couch, and they live. So it's like, it's not the perfect ending, but they are alive, so it is like technically an okay ending, even though Jenny and Ben had a fight right before.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if like we were being totally real, it's probably better that they all make it out than like they necessarily get all of their shit together. But like I think one of the things that's really important while you're playing, because while you're playing you're talking to like the control, which is the guy who like sent you through time. One of the things that he says is saving 6 people isn't just saving 6 people. You know, in 20 generations, that's like millions, right? Yeah. And that's like kind of important because like if Neil basically like spirals down into his anger management, you know, maybe he doesn't get his life together and he ends up in the prison system, or, you know, worse because he pissed off the wrong person. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe because Tom doesn't get his like shit together, the person who's blackmailing him because of his drug farm, like I said, there's so many things in this freaking story. Yeah. Maybe that person like actually does something to him and he gets in trouble and he goes to jail because he has drugs in his basement that are not legal in the UK.
Even though the reason he has those drugs in his basement is for his mom, because they're not full cannabis. It's the certain strain where it's doesn't make you high. It's just CBD.
Yeah,
just takes the pain away.
It doesn't matter.
Sleep, etc. But still, it's illegal. It's still illegal in the UK.
Yeah, And then like if the couple doesn't get together, then like they don't have kids, right? And
Yeah.
then that's however many people that are not existing in the timeline after that. And then,
Mhm.
you know, if Raquel doesn't get her stuff together with her being able to handle her future and handle her past, you know, maybe she spirals into various other dangerous escapades with the wrong person. I don't know. You know, it's we neither of us really looked at any of the
And
bad
even
ends.
an even bigger butterfly effect than what we're currently dealing with is
Right.
what you're saying.
Yeah. I don't think either of us looked at any of the like moderate ends, because obviously the bad ends end with them like dying in the house.
Well, because you can't
Um
actually request the mission to be complete with any of them dead. So
yeah.
you can with them being alive, but not the green.
Yeah, as long as they're saved, you can technically end the game.
Yeah, which I could look at right now, but I'm not gonna because I feel like it's not really going to be much different. Like the final scene.
Yeah, it's
They're
probably
gonna
going to
like
be
break out
similar.
of the house and then they're gonna be like, "Oh God, we survived," and then the fire department's gonna come and make sure they're okay and etc. Whatever. I mean, unless I could be wrong, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
But
I'm not
anyway,
really worried about it.
I'm not either.
It's I think it's really good. Though I will agree with what you said in text once you like watch the ending cinematic, that
Mhm.
like it's kind of a lackluster end, but like I think it's fine this way because
Well, I more meant the supposed secret
oh, the
ending,
secret ending. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. I
but
think
the
that
the regular
the
end was fine. That's like, yeah.
yeah. Um, Ironic though, none of this really would have happened if there wasn't a cannabis farm in the basement. Um, yeah, because the electricity
Yeah,
kept
because
going off because
what
of the
what
grow lights
burned
and
the
stuff.
house down was because the circuit breakers on in the like front area, the front hall,
Yeah,
exploded or like short circuited
and then
because there was
caught
too much
everything on fire.
electricity, so it caught the whole like thing on fire, and yeah,
Yep.
smoke
So
everywhere.
if there wasn't too many things going on in the basement, it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, well,
Darn you, Tom. Darn you.
live and you learn, I guess.
I mean, you die and you learn. So, um,
Yep, that too.
uh, yeah. So the hidden ending, involves you getting into the safe that is in that hidden room where the cannabis farm is. There's a safe built into the wall down there, and
Hmm.
you have to like go through another step to get the safe combination. You get the safe combination, you go over and you open it, and what you find in there is a
Higher tech
yeah,
visualizer.
yeah, the thing that you've been looking at to activate
The scenes.
yeah, the scenes, but like it's fully digital with like a touchpad instead of like knobs and dials,
Yeah.
which is what yours is. And so you grab it and you're like, all right, bring it home with you. You know, we'll figure it out when we get there. And when I would assume that the normal game would end without the secret end, you have to go and like you have to go back in the house and you go into Linda's room. And when you walk in, there's a ladder to the upstairs, and you're like, wait a
Yeah,
minute.
the attic.
Yeah, the attic. Wait a minute, this wasn't there before. And then you get like bonked on the head and you fall down. And then like a guy that's dressed up just like you walks over and he's like, you know, Agent One here. Sorry about that. You know, requesting. I think he's like, I'm sure you're wondering what's really going on here.
Yeah.
And then he's like, request transport for two. And then you
And
like,
then he like goes back to his control
yeah,
instead of your control, which I guess is two different times, I guess. I don't know.
well, this
And like
is
then it just ends and it's just like, okay.
Well, this is very clearly setting up for. First of all, it's like it's the time fuckery of it all.
Yeah,
Right?
obviously.
If you destroy the world via time and you're like going by and fixing it, like you can be sure that you're not going to be the only one that's going to be trying to do that. You know what I mean? Like in some other time with some other gadgets, somebody else is going to be doing the same.
Yeah.
So like you got to expect that essentially. And then what this read to me was, oh, they're making a new game. That's going to be the next one.
Yeah, but what is that going to be about? You
It
gotta
doesn't matter.
fucking
It's
fuck around with
it's going to be the same
other
premise.
the other like organization or whatever.
Well, it's going to be the same premise of like, oh, we've got to repair the world, but like subtly, you know. But
Yeah,
here's a
because
different story.
like the first thing I noticed when I started the game was like the organization you were with, like your character is with, is like really low tech and like grungy.
Well, I think that's intentional because
And
this
it's
is
like oh, you guys were experimenting and have all this high tech. Why is it so dirty and like look like this place is falling apart?
well, I mean,
And
it's post-apocalyptic, right?
why is my visualizer look like I beat somebody to death with it?
Yeah.
Because it does have like blood on it. So it's like why are my tools dirty?
Yeah.
And this like post-apocalyptic, maybe it was post-apocalyptic, I don't know, but like high-tech time stuff. Why is all the tools dirty?
Yeah, I want to say that it's like you are not in the best of times yourself, and you're basically
Yeah,
like using the
I
remnants of a
I
high
guess
tech
so.
time to try and bring yourself
Well,
back there.
as the beginning of the game says, you broke everything, so it's like,
Yeah.
go back and fix this so we can have it better here.
Right. So, yeah, I think that's what it is. I hope they
Also,
make another game. I'm gonna Google it right
apparently,
now.
I just found a piece of a picture in the dark room that apparently goes to a picture up on the landing, or the mid landing.
Hmm.
And now I have no idea where those other pictures, like pieces of the picture, are going to be. Because like I just found it while I had the game on right
It's
just
just
now.
like various
And I just
picture pieces.
looked it up. Yeah, it's like it was like a torn piece of picture.
Interesting.
Oh, and also, it's worth mentioning, I guess. There's like a few scenes where Jenny is like taking pictures or like can see stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's
And
implied that she's taking pictures and she sees like bits and pieces of like
of the
timey-wimey
future.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, because the few pictures that she takes is like pictures of the house burning.
Right.
And she has like a nightmare that's like one of the endings where they're choking to death on the smoke and Ben doesn't wake up.
Right.
And it's like, okay, yeah, that happens. It does. One of the timelines where he takes his sleeping pills and, doesn't wake up.
Right.
She can't get him to wake up.
Yeah.
So it's like something about that where she like senses timey-wimey stuff. You possibly, but
yeah. I think that's like we've given away the gist of it pretty much, but
there's a few days we didn't
that's all
cover.
right.
Like I think
I'm content with
Monday and Tuesday, but
yeah.
that's fine.
It's not a big deal. If you want to know the rest, go play it.
Go play it.
I think that this game is wholly worth the price tag, which is a number. Technically this game did come out in 2023, so like I assume that it's not going to be it's a $20 game on Steam and there is a free demo. So go play the demo. Go play go buy the game, put it on your wish list. and you will enjoy it if you enjoy these type of things. Things like Life is Strange, like what is it, Gone Home that we played.
Yeah.
It's definitely, I don't know, it's definitely an incredibly good. It takes the genre of like walking simulator and adds
Yeah.
a nice twist to it.
Well, it's also, I guess this is a genre, but choices matter.
Oh yeah, choices absolutely matter. Yes.
Like, because that's definitely a tag that I've seen a lot, where it's like choices matter.
Yeah, there are quite a few of those out there. I don't know if all of them necessarily actually like are that, but
I don't know. Life is Strange is definitely one where it's like there are choices in the game that you do, and like they matter. But that's also a game that is based around the butterfly effect. So.
Yeah. But yeah, go play this game. I'm gonna give this game, unless there's anything else you want to talk about.
I
think
don't
that's
think
about
so.
it.
I think that's it.
Yeah. I'm gonna give this game a 8 out of 10. I know that seems low, but
I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10.
this game, it's definitely up there in terms of games. I might change my mind later on.
Because like the visuals are great, the story is great, like all the interesting like like environmental changes when you mess with things. It's great.
So only reason I'm giving it a bit of a lower score is because there were definitely a few like tiny things that I found a little annoying, but they're not they're not game breaking things, and I'm perfectly willing to admit that they are personal things. Yeah. So, all right. I think that is about it for us. We've been going for a while, but that is okay. Yeah. The next game we are playing is called Death Coming. I have no idea what this game is, but I think it is the game that is like pixel graphicsy, and you're playing like a god or something, and you've got to like orchestrate the downfall of all these mortals.
Playing as death, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. I think you're orchestrating the downfall of a bunch of mortal people, and I don't know. It could be crap.
It could be crap. It could not be. Who knows?
It could be really interesting.
We've had a lot of those that look not great, but then are also amazing. So
yeah,
we'll find out. You'll find out next week.
Yeah, find out next week. Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, thank you.
And we'll see you next week. Have a good one.
See ya.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.